This is Cast of Wonders, the young adult fiction podcast featuring stories of the fantastic. Welcome, I'm Catherine Inskip, your editor and host. Episode 687 is our 50th Little Wonders collection, with the theme of quest tropes. Our first story is Insight by Lisa Para, a Cast of Wonders original. Lisa Para is a speculative fiction author, an alumna of Mary Robinette Kowal's short story cohort, and participates in multiple writing groups. When not writing, she fosters stray cats and tries to not fall off horses and mountain bikes. This is her debut short story. Follow her on Blue Sky at lisapara.bsky.social. This story is narrated by Alethea Contis. Alethea Contis is a storm chaser, adventurer, and New York Times best-selling author. She has received the Scribe Award, the Garden State Teen Book Award, and is a two-time winner of the Gillette Burgess Children's Book Award. She was twice nominated for both the Andre Norton Nebula and Dragon Award. Alethea also narrates stories for multiple award-winning online magazines, contributes book reviews to NPR, and does freelance work for Writing the Other. Born in Vermont, Alethea currently resides on the Space Coast of Florida, where she watches K-dramas with her teddy bear, Charlie. Together they are Army, VVS, and Black Roses. And now, we've a tale to tell.
Insight by Lisa Para. Narrated by Alethea Contis. I'm sure of it. The universe thinks I'm destined to be a main character. No way it's because of my pink hair, but the day after I dyed it from my normal shiny black was when things started to get weird. My public high school suddenly instituted school uniforms. When I walked in wearing my pleated skirt, a statistically unlikely number of boys got gushing nosebleeds and asked me to join their eclectic clubs. No thank you. The next afternoon, I had an honest-to-goodness meet-cute with a guy outside the library. I was so absorbed in my book, I tripped on the water fountain's edge. He snatched my novel from the air and folded me into his arms to steady me, but dropped his book in the water in the process. We laughed and our gazes met, and it was like time stood still, with pink roses and shiny bubbles rising all around us. Naturally, I punched him in the face and ran away before he could get the right idea. Then, when I helped Mom sort her latest estate auction finds, I was drawn to a dusty hat box of letters the deceased had written to a mysterious friend. The first one eerily paralleled my struggle to choose between going to university or focus on my dance career. I could feel myself getting sucked into a parallel life experience in which I'd have to decode the dead lady's letters to fully understand myself. So I accidentally dropped the whole box in the fireplace while Mom fixed dessert. She's still kind of not speaking to me, which, is kind of its own reward. See? These events are totally how main characters start out. But who the hell actually wants to be one? Main characters lose their parents, their mentors, their best friends. No one believes in them. They face impossible choices and suffer mental anguish and physical trauma. They have the hardest jobs and get the smallest rewards, with mortal enemies trying to undo them at every turn. I want a quick burst of notoriety to set me up for a lifetime of easy teaching gigs, and I want my family, mentors, and friends to live long, healthy lives. Except maybe Ren, my brother Ken, die an early death for what he did to astronaut Barbie when I was 6. So I decided to visit Obachan in buttfuck nowhere to try and get a break. I even hid my pink hair under a stylish knit hat. But no. Interdimensional portals in a bus bathroom? Are you kidding me? And cursed, mystical, one-of-a-kind objects, brooches, antique mirrors, even a hairbrush tried to waylay me at every step. Not 10 minutes after I'd arrived, Obachan's next-door neighbor burst in the door, hobbled in with much cane jabbing. There'd been a murder in their tiny town of 500. Only Obachan's extensive knowledge of antique buttons could help solve the case, but her eyesight's almost gone, and she was going to need me to help her find the clues. Nope, nope, nope. I suddenly remembered about a test I needed to study for and texted Ren saying Obachan really needed his help. It's not my fault tone is hard to read in texts, and he assumed it was an emergency. Then I found Obachan's magnifying glass, introduced her to Google Lens, told her Ren would arrive later to be her sidekick. Sucker! And best of luck, and I was on the next bus home. Hope that other dimension through the bathroom liked my pee. Which brings me to today. I gulped my latte and slammed the paper cup on the little cafe table, heaving a stage-worthy sigh. My best friend stared at me from his seat across the table, his mouth parted and eyes wide. "And that has only been the last week," I bemoaned, sinking deeper into a cushy chair that smelled of spilled breast milk and student anxiety. "Do you think if I can avoid it for long enough, it will go away? I really don't want to have to dye my hair back." I lifted my cotton candy pink braids. "It's super cute and cost a fortune." "It is super cute," he said, "but I think it's a little late to avoid becoming a main character." I shot upright. "What do you mean?" "Well," he rolled his hand in the air, "you really want something. To have a peaceful life, which sounds like a goal to me, and the universe sending you inciting incidents is an inciting incident in itself, and you're pretty hardcore resisting the call to adventure?" I let out a long, suffering groan and let my head drop until my forehead rested on my plastic latte lid. "I'm already a main character, aren't I?" "Looks like. Well, shit."
I'm sure a lot of us as kids have fantasized about being the heroes of our own stories, but it's something else entirely to feel the world warping around you and hear that call to adventure getting louder and louder, whether you want it or not. The thing is, if you listen close, it's probably already there. This is a world that needs heroes, and honestly, who better than you to make the world a better place for those around you? Our second story is The Last Quest of Corbin the Coward by David Hankins, which was originally published in Factor 4 magazine in June 2022. David Hankins is the award-winning author of Death and the Taxman. He writes from the thriving cornfields of Iowa, where he lives with his wife, daughter, and 2 dragons disguised as cats. His short stories have graced the pages of Writers of the Future Volume 39, Amazing Stories, Dreamforge magazine, Escape Pod, Unidentified Funny Objects 9, and others. David devotes his time to his passions of writing, travelling, and finding new ways to pay his mortgage. You can find him at davidhankins.com. This story is narrated by Matt Dovey. Matt Dovey is very tall, very British, and most likely drinking a cup of tea right now. A village elder once told him the scar on his arm marked him for greatness, but he's not so sure. He now lives in a quiet market town in rural England with his wife and 3 children, and still struggles to express his delight in this wonderful arrangement. Although his surname rhymes with Dopey, any other similarities to the dwarf are coincidental. He has fiction out and forthcoming all over the place. Keep up with it at mattdovey.com. Or find him time-wasting on social media as @MattDoveyWriter. And now we've another tale to tell.
The Last Quest of Corbin the Coward. Written by David Hankins. Read by Matt Dovey. Corbin collapsed outside the dragon's lair, acrid smoke wafting from his armour. He was getting too old for this. He'd never asked to be the gods' favoured champion. Sunlit forests spread out below him, a peaceful world unaware and unconcerned that he'd almost been eaten. Twice. Corbin drew a shuddering breath and wrenched a dragon tooth from his armour. Yet another pointless quest completed. What the hell did the gods want with a dragon tooth anyway? No more. Corbin was done. A familiar high-pitched whistle made his jaw clench. A small, iron-bound box streaked from heaven and half buried itself beside him. Corbin growled. Couldn't the gods just post a letter? Messenger by meteorites was so overdramatic. The box popped open, revealing all 6 inches of the fairy Elliot and his booming voice. Corbin the coward! You have found favour with the gods. They command... Corbin slammed the lid. No. Elliot's voice was only slightly muffled. You can't say no to a quest. Just did. The lid lifted, and Elliot's bright blue eyes peeked out. Must we do this every time? I'm done. Retired. Heading home to Caroline. Just one more quest. 20 years you fed me that line. No. Elliot looked abashed and crawled onto Corbin's armoured knee. His cherubic face held blatant hero worship. But you're the best. Yet the gods dubbed me Corbin the coward. Their sense of humour is quirky. A laugh escaped Corbin, and Elliot looked hopeful. So you'll take the quest? Corbin quashed his humour. No. It'll save the kingdom. Heard that before. There's a beautiful princess. I'm already married. But who will defeat the wizard Argonon? He kidnapped Princess Isabella for unspeakable experiments. Corbin's eyes narrowed. His fingers drummed on his breastplate. You do it. Elliot gulped. Me? But I'm just a messenger. Dark wizards kill messengers. You've followed me for years. Just do what I do. Elliot bit his lip and fluttered into the air, looking helpless. Corbin sighed. He needed to distract the gods' fickle attention. He needed a proper champion. What he had was Elliot. Corbin sighed and stood, fighting his aching joints. He drew a small utility dagger. Kneel, he intoned. Elliot looked unsure, but landed and knelt. Corbin tapped the fairy's shoulders. I dub thee Sir Elliot, champion of the gods. He flipped the dagger, presenting the handle. Happy questing. Elliot's eyes widened, and he took the dagger reverently. It made a perfect fairy broadsword. You mean it? A real knighthood? Corbin nodded, and Elliot gave the dagger broadsword a tentative swing. Okay, I'll take the quest, but come with me, please? Corbin rumbled a sigh, but nodded. Fine, but as backup only. He had planned on coming anyway. His scheme wouldn't work if Elliot died on his first quest. They descended into the woods, and Corbin provided a crash course on being a champion. What does a questing hero need? He asked. Humility, bravery, and noble birth. The first two were good, but noble birth? Where was that written? Corbin sucked his teeth, then said, You never told me you were noble. Elliot's flight path drooped, and his voice lowered. The unmagical 12th child of a minor fey household, smallest of the brood. Everyone called me Pipsqueak. Corbin nodded. A humbled noble. He could work with that. Elliot glanced up, and Corbin resumed his scowl. Champions aren't judged by birth or gifts, but by what they do with the little they have. You're a hell of a messenger. Kept me in the field longer than I wanted. You'll make a hell of a champion. Elliot perked up and flew straighter, chest out. Several hours and a lifetime of advice later, they arrived outside Argonon's crumbling keep. Overgrown vines gave it a menacing feel in the fading sunlight. Not a soul in sight. Corbin waved Elliot forward, then crossed his arms. The fairy brandished his dagger broadsword. "Dark wizard Argonon, release Princess Isabella!" Silence resounded before a high tower door crashed open. An old man with a pointed hat and impressive beard appeared between crenellations. "Get lost, Pipsqueak!" Elliot bridled. He streaked skyward and levelled his blade at Argonon, voice echoing off the walls. "Beware the god's fury worm! Heaven has warned you, hell follows after. Even I fear what comes next." Nice bluff. Corbin was impressed. Argonon paled, bolted inside, and Princess Isabella was soon shoved out the keep's heavy front door. The door slammed on her heels, and she stalked forward, fists clenched. "How dare you!" the princess yelled. "Argonon finally accepted me as apprentice, and you bumbling idiots scared him off." Corbin said, but Elliot spoke over him. "The gods heard your plea and sent us to rescue you from the dark wizard." And the princess rolled her eyes when she reached them. Her dress and hands were grease-stained, and the scent of sulphur wafted forward. "Argonon's no dark wizard. He's a brilliant scientist." Ah, science. Many feared this new magic based on nature instead of the god's favour. Corbin thought the idea sounded rather nice. Elliot looked confused. "But the gods were bribed with a sacrifice," Isabella said. "My father just had to get his way. Drag me home. Oh, I'm going to give him a piece of my mind." Isabella was interrupted by an iron-bound meteor that streaked from heaven. A fairy emerged, her voice booming at a slightly higher timbre than Elliot's. "Elliot the Eloquent, you have found favour with the gods. They command you to retrieve the Jewel of Agrippa from the evil Jinn Deva." The god's newest champion squeaked with excitement before covering his mouth. Corbin scratched his chin. He'd never fought an evil Jinn before. Perhaps? No. He smiled at Elliot. "Good luck, champion. I'll escort the princess home." "And then right back here," he surmised from Isabella's fiery expression. A quick little escort job, then he would go home to enjoy a quiet life with Caroline. That would be his best quest ever. The last quest of Corbin the Coward.
A wonderful palate cleanser, this story. Because quests and heroics are all very well, but what's truly important in life? Figuring out who you are and what makes you and those around you happy. Now that's a quest for all of us. Join us again soon. We love bringing you the best audio fiction week after week, but we can't do it without your support. Your donations pay our authors, our narrators, our servers and our staff. Please consider supporting us with a monthly donation through either PayPal or Patreon. You can also review us on Apple Podcasts, request us on Spotify, and consider the stories we publish for award consideration. There are lots of ways you can help. You can join the discussion on the EA Discord and visit us on Blue Sky at castofwonders.org. Come say hello. Cast of Wonders is brought to you by editor Catherine Inskip, assistant editors Alicia Caparaso and Amy Brennan, associate editors Rebecca Arndt, Tanya Adelit, Kit Kalestow, Cup Cobb, Adri Joy, Becca Miles, Ray O, Samuel Poots, Emma Smales, Denise Sudell, Eleanor Val, Rin Yi and Angela Zazueta. Our audio producers are Jeremy Carter and Andrew Jack. Cast of Wonders is part of the Escape Artists Foundation, a 501c3 non-profit. and this episode is distributed under the Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 International License. That means you can download or listen to the episode on any device you like, but you can't change it or sell it. The Little Wonders theme music is Neversus by Alexei Nov, available from Chromo DJ or his Facebook page. Thank you for listening.